What do you think is most important in a relationship? Love, trust, or something else? Have you ever felt like love and relationships are an unsolvable puzzle? Like there's an untold truth about women that no one's talking about? Today, we're diving deep into this mystery, and I'm taking a bold approach by using Stoic principles to uncover it. Trust me, you won't want to miss this, because by the end of this video, you'll see relationships and yourself in a whole new light. Let's face it, when it comes to understanding women, most of us have been fed a steady diet of myths and misconceptions. We've been told that women are mysterious and impossible to figure out. As a result, many men resort to the same tired strategies, trying to impress with flashy accomplishments, extravagant gifts, or over-the-top gestures. But here's the truth. None of that gets to the heart of what really matters in a relationship. Another myth? That women are fragile, overly emotional beings who need constant protection. This couldn't be further from the truth. Women are strong, capable, and independent. Yet, many of us still fall into the trap of outdated, patriarchal thinking, treating them as if they're somehow lesser instead of equals. The truth about women and love. Let's dive into something we've all heard countless times. The idea that women are hard to understand. Think about it for a moment. How often have we been told this narrative? It's like there's this unspoken rule in society that women are these enigmatic, mystical beings, impossible to figure out. But let's pause right here. Are they really that complicated? At the end of the day, women are human beings. Just like us, they have their own unique thoughts, emotions, and desires. They laugh, cry, dream, and hope, just as we do. But here's the thing. Understanding someone, anyone, requires effort. It's not about cracking some hidden code or unraveling a mystery. It's about showing up, being present, and taking the time to really listen. And isn't that what meaningful relationships are all about? Yet, so many of us fall into the trap of overcomplicating things. Instead of approaching relationships with openness and curiosity, we let our assumptions and stereotypes cloud our vision. We create barriers where there don't need to be any. Instead of asking questions, we make judgments. Instead of observing and learning, we project our own insecurities onto the other person. And then, we wonder why things feel so complicated. But here's a radical thought. What if we flipped the script? What if, instead of trying to figure out women like they're some unsolvable puzzle, we approached relationships with empathy, understanding, and humility? What if we treated each interaction as an opportunity to learn, grow, and connect on a deeper level? The truth is, building meaningful relationships requires more than just surface-level effort. It demands emotional intelligence, active listening, and a willingness to step outside of our own perspective. When we take the time to truly see the person in front of us, not as a stereotype or a preconceived idea, but as an individual, we start to break down those walls. And what we find on the other side is often far simpler and more beautiful than we ever imagined. So, let's leave behind the outdated notion that women are hard to understand. Let's embrace the truth that relationships thrive when we approach them with authenticity and an open heart. Because when we do, we discover that understanding isn't about complexity, it's about connection. And that's where the real magic happens. What do you think? Could this perspective change the way we approach love and relationships? Stay tuned, because the journey to uncovering the truth about women and love is just getting started. Where we go wrong. So why do so many of us struggle in our relationships, despite our best efforts? The truth is, most of the time, we're getting in our own way. The answer to our struggles lies in three key areas: a lack of emotional intelligence, a lack of empathy, and a lack of self-awareness. We get so wrapped up in our own egos, our own desires, and our own expectations that we forget the true essence of relationships. They aren't about winning or controlling. They're about connection, trust, and mutual understanding. Think about it. How many times have you let your emotions dictate your reactions? How many times have you let your ego cloud your judgment, instead of taking a step back and trying to understand the other person's perspective? We let our frustrations or insecurities take control, which only leads to tension. Relationships require us to be open, vulnerable, and humble, qualities that are often hard to access when we're consumed by our own desires. And this is exactly where Stoicism can help. Stoicism teaches us how to detach ourselves from our emotions and reactions, allowing us to respond with greater clarity, patience, and understanding. By practicing Stoic principles like emotional resilience, empathy, and self-awareness, we can transform the way we connect with others, fostering deeper and more meaningful relationships. So, let's take a closer look at how we can apply these timeless principles to improve our connections and stop repeating the same mistakes over and over. How Stoicism can transform relationships. What if the secret to healthier, more fulfilling relationships is not found in grand gestures or superficial tactics, but in the power of Stoicism? Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, teaches us to cultivate resilience, empathy, and self-awareness, tools that can transform the way we experience love and connection. Rather than getting lost in our emotions or expectations, Stoicism helps us navigate the ups and downs of relationships with grace and clarity. One of the most powerful Stoic practices is something called negative visualization. This technique involves imagining challenging situations, such as rejection or heartbreak, and mentally preparing ourselves for how we would handle them. It may sound strange, but by envisioning these difficult moments before they happen, we develop emotional resilience. This allows us to approach relationships with a sense of calm, knowing that we can handle whatever comes our way. By practicing this technique, we can reduce the sting of disappointment and avoid being overwhelmed by emotions. It helps us manage our expectations and approach love with a more balanced mindset. Instead of fearing potential pain, we embrace it as part of the journey, knowing we have the strength to face it. Stoicism empowers us to not only understand our emotions, but also to respond to them thoughtfully, without getting swept away by them. In doing so, we build deeper, more meaningful connections, free from the chaos of ego or fear. It's this kind of emotional intelligence and self-awareness that can truly transform the way we relate to others, helping us create more stable and lasting relationships. So, how can you incorporate Stoicism into your love life? Let's explore. Another Stoic principle is living in accordance with nature. In relationships, this means letting go of the unrealistic, idealized versions of women that we've been conditioned to believe in. Instead, we recognize and embrace them as real individuals with unique thoughts, emotions, and dreams. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This couldn't be more relevant to love. We can't control how someone else feels or behaves, but we can choose how we respond, with anger and jealousy, or with understanding and compassion. The choice is ours. The key insight, the untold truth about love. So what's the untold truth about women and love? Here it is. True understanding and appreciation don't come from trying to impress, convince, or control. They come from practicing Stoicism, by developing emotional intelligence, empathy, and self-awareness. We can foster deeper, more meaningful connections. And isn't that what we're all really searching for? Conclusion: leaving a lasting impression. Today, we uncovered how Stoic principles can transform the way we approach love and relationships. The path to understanding isn't about grand gestures or elaborate plans. It's about cultivating inner strength and seeing the humanity in others. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about Stoicism and its connection to relationships? Drop a comment below and let's start a conversation. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for more content on Stoicism, personal growth, and self-improvement. Until next time, take care, and remember, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that makes all the difference.